this idea, and a lot, I've heard this a lot, is, all the ships, having all the ships rise at the same time. And I think the decentralized notion sort of lends to that, where if we're all sort of like helping each other tread water, we're all going to rise at the same time.
Hello again, food enthusiasts. My name is Chris Strechkowski, your host today for the FutureFoodCast, where we talk with thought leaders in today's food industry and discuss the trends and technologies that are shaping the future of food. Today, very, very happy to be speaking with Jeff Davis, the founder and president of Island Sun Canada. Welcome to the program.
Hey, Chris, thank you. Thanks for having me on the program. So
Good.
Yeah.
Well, you and I had a chance to catch up before this podcast. It was very enthusiastic. I think you and I both love your product and the type, and we're going to hear all about that. But first, maybe give us a little bit of background on who you are and where you came from and what brought you to the point of starting Island Sun.
Okay, so I've tried many careers. I always struggled to kind of find, I think it's stressed upon a lot of people to find something you're good at when you're young and then sort of go in those directions. And I found myself good at a lot of things, a large variety of things. I wasn't really capable of making a really strong decision. So I tried all sorts of things. I did enjoy working with my hands, always, like the trades. Although I did well with English and science, I did like working with my hands. I love cooking. So part of my direction. I guess for the longest part of my career outside of my company, I worked as a graphic designer and a marketing specialist or senior marketing rep at the end. Yeah, it was an excellent education. So for about 20 years, I was in that field in a number of ways. So it was interesting because back then, digital artwork and digital graphic design was on kind of really having a renaissance, and it just really blowing up. I grasped onto that, and it was a great, rewarding career. It was kind of what kind of led me away from it was, I don't know, I just kind of got tired of office politics, and I guess not really being able to run my own thing when I had different ideas. It kind of prompted that. And then the last position I was in, our marketing department was severed. So that sort of was my one of the what I would call a road sign saying time to change, time to try something new. This was before COVID. So COVID has provided us with a number of different hurdles as well. So, but that was my road sign then. And I thought I'll take my severance and invest it in myself and take the knowledge I've gained over the last 20 years in marketing and also in the food industry to make something that I truly love and that I feel is a great product, not just a good product. It's got to be great. And I want my service to be number one as well. Someone once said it was a quote that I really took to heart years back. Someone said, the easiest thing to market is a good product with great service. So, it's a pretty simple formula, but the tough part is coming up with that good or great product that you can service. So yeah. What I did was I did a bit of soul searching, I guess. I had already been experimenting with making hot sauce. I enjoyed all kinds of hot sauce at that point. My father, who is Barbadian, raised me in a slightly different way than my neighbor kids in Ontario, and we got hot sauce early. And while my brother wasn't as big a fan, I took to it and I was hooked immediately. So when we were having hot dog day at school, it was always like, where's the hot sauce? So yeah. It was never there. Mustard was as hot as we went. So yeah, I've just really I did some soul searching. My wife and I ended up going back. We went to Barbados in 2018 and I said to her, look, it's going to be a bit of research because I want to go and try all the hot sauces around the island. And I had the idea that I would like to make something, if possible, if I could make it, then do so in Canada, because we need this type of like in Barbados, it's a table sauce. And I figured, I want that table sauce here. And I think others with the growing lust for hot foods, like if you watch Hot Ones, or you watch a lot of the great YouTube and Netflix specials that are all, cooking shows. Everyone started kind of creeping into this kind of crafted products as well as heat. So I thought, to me, I think we spoke about this before, where the craft beer world, I feel, is about 10 years ahead of where the hot sauce industry is. So I thought I'd better get my act together and try this out. And was back to what I said before. I didn't want to release something that was just good.
Right.
So I ended up handing out 1,000 bottles just to get feedback and make sure that I was on the right track. I had, and then when I had something, I sort of said to my wife, I think I got it. I don't want to I don't want to tweak it anymore. And then I really started kind of getting people to taste it, including my relatives from Barbados who loved it. So, that was the genesis of the product coming out. There were a lot of, sorry.
I say that's a great background. It's really combining a lot of sort of prior skills and experience, hands-on marketing, also obviously a passion for food, along with the amazing cultural background, which is bringing essentially Barbados to Canada. And it's really refreshing to see people like yourself, and we see this a few times on this podcast here, that people, they have successful careers, they're good at what they're doing, they've learned a lot. I was like, I have this passion to make this thing, and for you it's hot sauce, and launch a whole new career and a whole new business on that. And it's great to see that. I'm looking forward to trying the product. I know some is coming my direction. That's going to be wonderful. Tell us more about your passion for, how you're making this product, kind of your concept for small batch craft, and what that means for your product.
I diverge from what I usually encounter, like with other sauce makers, and that I don't want to be mass produced. I don't want my sauce to be, I don't want it to be mass produced. I don't want co-packers involved. I don't want,
it's a craft product someone, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You don't want it to ever not be a craft product.
I want to control that. And if it gets to a point where I can't, well, then I've got to scale back, or, so I'm in a weird scaling predicament, because I need to cook more so that I can advertise more and sell more. But at this point, I have a super small footprint. So usually whatever I make is usually spoken for, and then I do deliveries quickly. There's very little storage. And for a while I was shipping a lot of it to Amazon, and then Amazon sells it as well. So I thought to myself, I can use Amazon as a storage facility on top of, that was part of the problem, right? Because otherwise you have to store it in a safe place. So now I don't want to jump the gun too much, but my goals are to turn my 2-car garage into an inspected location that I can cook my sauce and store it. So that will be my next phase. But initially, I just don't like the idea of somebody saying at a co-packer, saying to me, well, what are your hero ingredients? And well, you can pick 3 of those ingredients, otherwise it's going to cost too much, and those types of things, when I can kind of cut out the middleman and make those decisions myself. And I can truly turn around and say, look, I know my product is better because it's an expensive product to make, and I was there, I made it. And I do all the quality control, and I'm not happy putting my signature on it unless it's something I would eat myself and enjoy. So,
I think all people have to do is look at your website, and the front page is enough to make anybody's mouth water watching the sauce pouring over beautiful slices of meat.
I was also a hand actor in that. So yeah, that's great. The other thing that I am really enjoying more even than I thought I would is meeting. You bring up a good point, is meeting the people in my community that do these things. So Sylvia Pond is the fine photographer who took that shot of the of the chicken wings, and she's done some other photography for me as well. And I really believe, let someone who's an expert, do their thing, and if your personalities also combine, well, then even better.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, I've really I like to stay in touch with everybody that I meet. I like to know everyone on a first name basis, and it's been really great so far. And even the folks that I've met now that my product is moving further away, generally through social media, I can start up a conversation and get to know them as well.
Right.
So.
I feel like what you've done in your business is sort of the perfect representation of what we see growing up, which is sort of decentralized food production, decentralized entrepreneurial efforts. And because you have access to Amazon and other types of logistic companies, you don't have to just sell in your hometown. Even if your hometown's 3 million people, you literally can sell to a continent just by utilizing some of these services like Amazon. But as you also said, you have a craft product. Part of the value of that craft product is it's going to stay a craft product. You're going to be involved with making it. How does this present challenges for your supply chain? You're making relatively small batches with relatively, if people look at the ingredients list, it's a very clean, clear list of ingredients. How do you manage the supply chain as a craft small producer?
I can't lie. It does pose a problem when a larger company, like say a co-packer, comes in and you see their truck going away with all of the hot peppers on it, right? And then I come in and I say, I need, 80 pounds, not 800 pounds, right? So there is buying power, of course, and I think what I'm banking on, and I could be somewhat wrong, is that my brand and my loyalty to the people who are providing me with ingredients are is strong, and I can kind of part of it. I think what I've discovered, and I've only been at it for 3 years, I'm going into my 4th year. What I've discovered is that you have to stay on top of things. So I had no idea where I was going to get my glass when I started, like for bottles and caps. I had no idea where I was going to get my turmeric. I had no idea. I made this recipe, and a lot of the elements in it you can't readily get in Canada all the time. So that was a little bit of a, not really a misstep, because I wanted to bring Barbados to Canada. So I knew there was going to be some of that. But for instance, out in British Columbia, when that atmospheric river occurred, I knew there would be some shipping problems immediately, because my glasses might be coming from China. So I got on the phone and, do you have any more bottles? Can I buy them from you right now? So it's more staying on top of the news and understanding how that could affect your, obviously, climate, and there are so many other factors that you just have to cross your fingers at. But again, being small, I can be flexible, and I can say no. I can say no to someone who says, I'm going to charge you double for a turmeric. I can say no to somebody who's going to charge me X, and I don't agree. I can then shift gears. Also, what I've done is made some great friends in the hot sauce community I try and make sure that I'm an open book, and then in turn, they're usually open books as well. So we share suppliers if there's emergencies. They've been very good at I could name a bunch of people, but many are really super friendly folks. And yeah, it's just a really good, it's great to have friends and to have a personal, again, a first name basis with people.
You have essentially certainly a regional, but also maybe an international community network of both suppliers, but people in the supply chain, even if it's not involved with your product, they become helpers, if you will. And I think that's the true kind of spirit of decentralization that we're seeing in the business culture these days.
When you mentioned decentralization, I kind of stopped for a second, because it's like, whoa, am I doing this? It's like, well, yeah, you're right. you kind of hit the nail on the head. I like this idea, and a lot. I've heard this a lot. Is all the ships having all the ships rise at the same time, and I think the decentralized notion sort of lends to that, where if we're all sort of like helping each other tread water, we're all going to rise at the same time. And yeah, I mean, there's room if you look at other markets of kind of handcrafted food items. There's room in the market for interesting branding and your own twist on a lot of things. So I mean, that's really what I'm kind of going with. When I moved into my own company, I wanted really for there to be less stress. So for me, I like to keep it very simple, keep it simple. And I have the one main product, which you'll get to try too. But the one main product, Beijing Taiga, and I spent a lot of time refining that, and I really don't see the need to create a whole line of sauces, because I sort of like that one sauce to rule them all sort of thing. And mine's more of a table condiment. You'll try,
Right.
I'm really curious to hear what you think of it. I do offshoots. I've done a super hot sauce, which is very super limited, but my main focus is my main product, and that keeps it simple from keeping my bottles the same, keeping my supply chain stuff similar. It's not complicated to me.
Excellent. Well, we've talked a lot, if you will, about the upstream side, your supply chain, and this is essentially all digitally managed by you. Looking the other direction, I imagine it's probably somewhat similar. We've talked just beginnings about e-commerce and what you're doing there, but how are you reaching out to customers and letting them know, what's in your product, the quality of it, the handcrafted sort of nature of the product? What are your important channels, or how are you leveraging those?
My model or my concept was to first take my sauce. If I could sell 1,000 bottles in year one, sell 1,000 bottles on top of what I was giving away, then I would continue in year two. What I wanted to do was to make sure I was speaking to, I wasn't targeting large chains like Loblaws or Sobeys or anything like that. I was targeting local butcher shops, cheese shops, places where handcrafted jellies and preserves were sold, making sure I met the owner of the shop themselves, and then giving them a sample if they liked it, which, I was hoping they would. If they like hot sauce, they will generally like it, if not love it. And, so I would get ecstatic replies from these shop owners. Okay, I'll buy some. I want to put it on the shelf. And so what I would ask, I'd go back in and I'd bring my cell phone with me and say, hey, do you mind if I take a few shots of your store, also do advertising for you? And they were like, of course, like, can I get a shot of you holding my sauce? And then I will brand it. We're going to, we'll both win. So that was my initial idea. I still maintain that because A, it's fun, and B, it's just a really, I think it's a polite thing to do as someone who's selling, to include people in their promotions. That was stage one. And then once I sort of had I got over 1,000 followers on my Instagram account, I thought I'm going to move to Amazon at that point, because then there'd be enough digital subscribers that are watching me. My audience was that size. And then I could then say, hey, I'm on Amazon. And in a perfect storm, COVID hit, and I was launching on Amazon. So everyone was at home, and I had 1,000 people that were following me at the time. And my sales just went crazy, on Amazon. So it was weird. And I mean, it's just a strange storm of, I guess, lucky, unlucky. I don't know. And part of my problem with COVID is that I can't really project where my company's going to be, because these last 2 years have been so bizarre. Like, I don't know what would happen if there weren't COVID.
Right.
So, it's interesting, but that whole decentralized thing, I'm not concerned with what Wall Street, what earnings people are making. I just do my own thing and try and recoup where things gain and loss, so yeah. It's Does that explain?
Yeah,
I
it does. It does. And,
think so.
I think we've certainly been a key point of discussion of e-commerce and how COVID has impacted that. And you've had a good result from that. Maybe not surprisingly looking back, it would have been surprising looking forward that a lot of food companies have actually done really well, especially if they're able to distribute through e-commerce. And there's kind of this thinking about, oh, well, maybe it'll go back. Well, it's
Yeah, I don't
easier.
think
It's
so.
it's more convenient for
Yeah.
people. I don't think I think it's going to only accelerate the purchasing of food and food related items via e-commerce and having it delivered to home. But so you have great marketing on your product, and you're a marketing expert, and you've done that yourself. One of the things we also hear that's of interest, especially for people that are out buying craft products, is they want to know what's in it. They want transparency of what's in it. And of course, you have a clear label and it's kind of
Mhm.
obvious what's in there. But
Yeah.
do you have like customers that are really asking you about, what's in it? Where does it come from? Where do your original ingredients come from? How do you respond to that?
Your point about a clear label is that was absolutely intentional design. Because of the color of the product.
Hmm.
And I wanted people to see the hot pepper chunks and everything in there. When it's served, you get to see that beautiful presentation, but I wanted a glass bottle as
Hmm.
well. It also, I think it lends itself to being authentic when someone's not afraid to have a clear label. I mean, if you get a standard mass marketed ketchup bottle, they're not clear anymore. They're
Hmm.
actually colored red, and you don't even know what's in it. Don't even really
Yeah.
know what's in it. So yeah, so if someone were to come to me and ask me about the ingredients and where they come from, I essentially I'm trying to get as many ingredients from Ontario that I can and locally.
Hmm.
Sometimes some batches have more Ontario content and some have less. One of the things that people should understand as well is that if you're trying to buy Ontario only onions, for instance, like chopped onions or like frozen onion, Harvey's buys a ton of Ontario onions. And if they buy up all the onions, you have to get them from elsewhere sometimes too. But
Hmm.
it's nice to know that the onions are being purchased from Ontario. And
Hmm.
occasionally I will get like if I request getting onions from Ontario if I can. A lot of things like mango, for instance. I was buying fresh mangoes, peeling them by hand, and they were coming from near the equator. You can't guarantee their ripeness. You can't guarantee
Hmm.
they're not bad. So I worked with Flanagan's is one of the companies that I source from, and they provided me with an excellent product that it's flash frozen when it's ripe. So you're getting a very consistent product. It's not inexpensive, but it's very, very consistent and very good quality.
Hmm.
So quality has to be great,
Yeah.
but I am moving to getting things from Ontario as I learn about them.
Well, I think also, certainly local consumption is a trend. This is clear, certainly across North America. But I think also it's, for example, turmeric. Turmeric's not something that you see growing a lot in Canada.
No, it
And
doesn't grow well.
right, so it's either going to
Yeah.
come from India, maybe Peru, or other places like that where the climate is more suitable. But then, and that's fine. I mean, nobody's really disappointed about that, but they're still interested sometimes to know where the product's coming from, and that may be in a future opportunity, especially in a single batch craft process like you're making. Be able to say, "Yep, these are where all the key materials came from," and you may end up developing a relationship with a turmeric farmer in Peru, and that can
Yes.
be a person that's visible through sort of social media via your product.
I would ultimately love to be able to have a farm in Barbados and have all
Mm.
of those ingredients grow there and ship them to Canada or have it produced there. I don't know. But
Mhm.
again, I'd have to be at the helm and I'd have to be in two places at once. So
Right.
we'll see. Speaking about turmeric though, I get it from an organic vendor here near me named called Fennings. And they're excellent. Like they get such high quality. The turmeric I get currently comes from Peru, and it's just such high quality stuff that it's amazingly clean. It's incredibly delicious. Like it's just snap. Like it's just incredible how it comes, how
Mm,
they get it. And I know that they do some vetting of it on their end. Like they make sure that they're not giving me so a purchaser anything that's substandard. So like that's contributing to Ontario jobs, and that's to me, I feel good that they're looking over that stuff, and that they're also a great when I was starting, I needed to learn a lot, and they were very willing to share a lot of common knowledge with me. So I
mhm.
mean, it's just great.
Yeah.
If I could work with them specifically for everything, although they don't carry everything I need, I
Mhm.
would do a lot with them.
Well, let's look into the future a little bit. And again, your company is just a perfect representation of the craft food products that are coming onto the market, and they're able to come onto the market because of flexible supply chains that can support a small producer, and flexible supply chain, or let's say distribution chains, that you can get your product out to many different places. What do you see in the next 1 or 2 years for your product, and growing it up and maybe expanding distribution to other places?
I would say Amazon. I think I'm going to step away from Amazon. It was very good for me initially to get my brand out, but the fees that are associated with Amazon aren't really good for, I don't think, a small handcrafted business. I think
Mm,
I would like to kind of refine that, and there are some interesting options coming out. There's I recently signed up with a company called Fair, FAIRE, who works well with Shopify. So I think that may
mm,
be my direction moving forward for online sale, and kind of getting it out to larger to small retailers
mhm.
across North America. That's where what I've got in my mind. Once my garage is kind of complete and certified, then I can move that direction. But currently, I am. You'll notice there's a shirt here that says
Nice.
the online Canadian hot sauce store.
I
So
think I
they
need I needed a gold star membership for that.
there you go. Well, I know a guy, so you can no, definitely check them out. This is another example of this marketing, where the fellow that owns this Heiko and his lovely wife Angela, they wanted to do something that was Canadian only and sort of stay above the border,
Mhm.
and they've got a great number of sauces. Most of them I think are micro batch.
Right.
So if you want to go to one place and save on shipping, he's doing it right now. So
Hmm.
go check it out. They offer my sauces as well as a whole bunch of other great sauces. And I think I probably know personally all of the other sauce makers. Yeah, it's just
Mhm.
if more things like this happen, then I think it sets, all ships are going to rise. I also want to do some shipping of my own once I can get on Shopify and all those
Mhm.
those things take
Mhm.
over. But I think these communities, like the online Canadian hot sauce store, are a great grounds to kind of compare and pick your brand, pick your
Mhm.
style, and sort
Right.
of try them out.
Yeah. Well, it's technology certainly has a lot of challenges for us and causes a lot of problems sometimes, but there's just so much opportunity that's being created right now. I think and really, I mean, your business would be really hard to do without all the sort of the digital supply chain, digital distribution, e-commerce, digital marketing, social media. You probably still have a business, but you'd probably have to be focused really around Toronto. So it's really
Yeah,
exciting to see how you're going to be growing with this in the coming years, especially with your own in-home production facility.
yeah, and I can't stress enough that it's a blessing and a curse, the social media. But as someone who owns a small business and approaching it seriously, I think it's invaluable. I mean, there's no way you could do this type of marketing even 7 years ago. I think it
Mhm.
would be very difficult to do, and I think that people have to just bite the bullet and get in there, create those accounts, and make sure that you're sharing, and make sure that you're
Mhm.
open to good questions, and to me, that's it. I wanted my brand to be about, basically me, and follow my, my likes, my life. If you look at my Instagram posts, which you may have done, I enjoy beer. I'm a Canadian Bajan, and I enjoy all of those things. Often my posts are not directly about hot sauce. A lot of them are, but a lot of them are just about being, dealing with this thing called life, and enjoying myself.
It's a great story. It's even better that it's continuing and growing.
Thank you.
Exciting to see, like I said, you bring all your marketing and other experience to make a product that you're passionate about. And again, I think what you represent is really the perfect example of this growth we're seeing in food entrepreneurs on the craft side. And I think your analogy to craft beer is great, because a lot of craft beer brewers started at home and then they grow up from there. So really
It's
looking
amazing.
forward to more of your product. We'll have to come back to you in 2022 after you've got your home prep kitchen and production kitchen going, and see how that looks, and talk more about the future for your products. Island Sun Canada, we've got Jeff Davis with us, the founder and president. Thanks again for being on the program.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks for listening to Future Foodcast. Future Foodcast is powered by Farm to Plate, the leading food blockchain platform. Subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts to stay up to date with the very latest innovations in the food industry.